recording. So, yeah, so Mylene, my name is Nada. I'm the outreach coordinator with Volunteer Ottawa. Today, Justin is going to be walking you through how you can create a practical framework to help your profit, navigate CRA requirements with confidence and transparency. So Justin and his team specialize in supporting nonprofit organizations through full cycle monthly bookkeeping, helping them stay compliant, organized, and confident in their financial reporting. His firm is also the highest rated QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor team in Eastern Ontario, reflecting a strong track record of delivering reliable, high quality financial support. With extensive experience working with nonprofits, Justin focuses on helping organizations stay on the right side of CRA requirements while providing boards with clear and actionable financial insights. Yeah, Justin, I'll hand it over to you now, and good luck.
Yeah, thank you so much for that introduction. I'm just going to start my presentation and share my screen.
Am I the only one in this session?
There's
Yeah, it
supposed to be
seems
a
like
second
it.
person. Yeah.
Okay. Can you give me a sec? Because I thought this was in person. So I drove out to Saint Laurent. I just stepped into my house. I want to log in with my computer,
Okay,
if that is possible.
Yeah, no
absolutely.
worries.
Wow. Individual help.
Yeah, we can really go through as much detail as you want, whichever direction you want to go.
Oh my. Okay, hold on. I just have to remind. Oh, no. I mean, I can hear you. Volunteer Ottawa. Okay, I'm just logging in. There might be an echo.
No worries.
Join. Okay, sorry about that.
No, perfect. Awesome.
Turn
Okay,
up the.
I'll share my screen and let me know if you can see that.
Yes, I can see it. Make this a little easier. I won't be so.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for taking time to meet with me and listen to what I have to say. Really, since you're the only one here, we can really go in as much detail as you want in whatever topic you can think of, and however it applies to you or the nonprofit you're involved with. So, thank you again for the introduction. We have years of experience supporting not-for-profits with their bookkeeping, full cycle accounting, grant reporting, audits, everything you can name of or think of to make sure that you're compliant and running a healthy business. So first, this is kind of the direction that we're going to go with and all the topics that we'll cover. So there's 12 items that I won't actually read through right now. I'll just kind of get through the presentations. And again, just as a reminder, if you have questions, interrupt me, feel free to stop me. We have as much time as you're looking for. So the first, just to kind of open, the real role of financial management with NPOs covers four things. First, CRA compliance, which is obviously the first thing that we are always looking to accomplish because nothing can really result from accurate financial reporting for the board of directors or management if you're not compliant with CRA. And I'll dive deep into what that actually means and how it can relate to you. The second is funding protection. So if you are relying on grants or if you're a registered charity, making sure that you're compliant and that you're fulfilling everything you can to actually have trust from your donors and government departments is also a huge, crucial role that your financial reporting should be doing for you. Then accountability to donors and government. This is really just making sure that you're staying true to your mission statement and that you're actually producing results that you can measure and still make sure that you're having as much impact as possible. The last one is decision-making clarity for the board or management, whoever is making decisions at your company. If you are not compliant with CRA and if you don't have monthly reporting, it's really difficult to make decisions with clarity moving forward. So I'll dive deeply into each 4 of these sections in the future. So what CRA expect from NPOs? First and foremost is accurate annual filings. So the T3010 or the T1044 are likely the 2 that apply to you. These are done yearly, whatever the fiscal year end is for your company or NPO. It's due 6 months after that. The second is clear fund separation, so restricted versus unrestricted funds. This relates to if you are receiving grants or income that is restricted to a specific program or operation or some kind of activity. Your financial reporting needs to show that you are actually, in fact, creating reports specific to those activities. The second is transparent donation tracking. So if you are receiving donations, you need to make sure that your reporting reflects that. And if you are actually giving donations, you need to actually make sure that you have the supporting documentation to have that. Then is audit-ready documentation. So if your board of directors requires you to have an audit, and that obviously needs to be done, usually from a threshold perspective, if your revenue surpasses about 500,000, it's usually the indicator that you should be getting a yearly audit. That's done from an outside company. And lastly is evidence of internal controls. So any kind of approval process, separation of duties, those all need to be made very apparent. And if it's not, it's something that you should really look into. So just to kind of touch on the annual requirements, if you're a registered charity, you should be submitting the T3010, which is just an information return. It's due 6 months after the year end. And then just for NPOs, it's the T1044.
Okay, question.
Yep.
The NPO, what qualifies as that? I know I'm a registered charity and we are nonprofit, but what requires the T1044?
If you're just an NPO, if you are just an NPO and not a registered charity. So if you're saying that you are a registered charity, then you would just have to fulfill the T3010.
Yeah, that's what my research said. So I was just to make sure that I didn't have to do the T1044 due to my interpretation. Thank you.
Yeah, it's one or the other.
Okay, good.
But that's obviously, the first bucket that you need to fulfill with CRA. And that is due 6 months after year end. The next 2 buckets is payroll and HST compliance. So payroll, you have to submit monthly remittances 15 days after the previous month. And so if you're in January, you have to pay the remittances that you've deducted from your staff by the 15th of February, and that repeats each month. Additionally to that, you have to submit T4 return and T4A slips to all of your employees. And lastly, for payroll, you have to have a clear classification of contractors versus employees. Payroll sounds very complicated, but it's actually one of the easiest things to automate if you just have a trusted payroll provider. And so really, you just have to invest in the setup. And so moving forward, everything kind of just falls into place. Even if you have hourly employees, or if there's some kind of commission that may require changes in the payroll cycles, payroll is one of the fastest that's very easily automated. And the next one is GST HST filing. So you can either be monthly, quarterly, or annually remitters. Even if you're an annual remitter, you need to keep track of what you might owe for HST monthly. So I'll go ahead.
Are you going to go into more detail than that?
Yes,
Or
I'm going to
can
go.
I
I'm
ask?
going to exactly. I'm
Okay.
going to go more into detail. And ITC tracking accuracy. So obviously, all of this stuff should be, monitored, reconciled on a monthly basis. It shouldn't really be something that is looked at 12 months after the fact, because you might actually be missing out on some ITCs, or you may come to a point where you now all of a sudden have this massive tax liability that's owed that you didn't know about.
Okay. ITC, input tax credit.
Correct. So
What do you
if there
mean?
is,
Can you
let's
remind me?
say, yeah, so if you have an expense that has sales tax on it, you're actually able to claim that as a rebate or a refund, so that it lowers the amount of sales tax that you owe.
Which is my GST, HST. I'll have to
Correct.
research
Yeah.
that into more detail. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Input
The
tax credit, if I purchase something and
mhm.
it had GST and HST, I have
Yep.
no taxable. In order to have GST, HST, it has to be, I have to sell goods, correct?
Not necessarily. You could sell services or
Oh,
like
no, no,
memberships or.
contractors too.
Yep.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I clued in. Good.
yeah, the simplest way for me to explain this is, if you have taxable sales, like sales that are um, required for you to charge sales tax on, so in Ontario, 13%.
Hmm.
Um, let's say you made 100,000 in revenue, 13% of that you would owe to
Yeah.
CRA. But if you have several expenses, like if you're paying contractors and your contractors are charging you sales tax, then you can reduce what you owe to CRA at the end of the year.
And
Um,
sales, so donations and memberships do not fit into that?
Memberships potentially can. It really depends on what kind of membership you're providing. Donations don't. For NPOs, especially for registered charities, it's really dependent on the substance of your company. So, in some occasions, you actually only have to remit 50% of the federal and provincial sales tax. Um, this
Say
is
that
all
again?
stuff. Uh,
50%?
yeah, it's the PBP rebate. And again, this is we're kind of getting in the depth of
Okay.
really diving deep into the details of your company, which I'm more than happy to do. But I think for the sake of today, I want to get through all the
Yes,
presentation.
yes.
If you would like, we can actually schedule a follow-up consultation meeting where we can go in depth for your HST. Um, HST returns for NPOs is actually something that I personally specialize in. I have a lot of experience with it, and I'd be more than happy to go through that. Um, but for right
Yes,
now, what I'm just really trying to get across in my message is that even if you're an annual filer, looking at this
yes,
monthly reconciling is very, very crucial.
yes.
HST is also something that I've built into monthly processing so that it's mostly automated. So obviously you still have your checks and balances, but as you prepare the monthly bookkeeping, your HST return is prepared as you go. So it's not kind of something you just look at retrospectively. It's actually something you can plan for. Um, okay. And so given those three tax obligations to CRA, this is usually where NPOs commonly break down. So one, missed filings or deadlines. CRAs genuinely pretty strict, especially with NPOs, on their filing deadlines and frequencies. The next one that I've seen often is weak grant tracking. And so if that is an arm of your operation, if you're receiving grant funding, usually for each one individually, there will be some kind of quarterly or monthly reporting that's necessary. And it's easy to lose track of that, but it's also easy to resolve that as well. The next is expense misclassification. So not really fully understanding the difference between employee salaries or contractors, or what kind of expenses you're actually able to deduct or claim. Um, The next one is informal approval processes. And so if you have a board of directors or you have some kind of managerial body that requires expense reimbursements to be approved or some kind of vendor payments to be approved, having a clear SOP, which is just standardized operation process, is very, very important. If you don't have this, then you're leaving your company and yourself vulnerable. Donation receipt errors, so just not providing accurate documentation for any kind of donation transactions. And lastly, just no monthly financial review cycle. So just waiting till year end to look at the mess and see what happened, and by then it's too late. So what can happen if these are happening in your company? First is the financial risks. So you can potentially lose grant funding. Also, if you're missing or you're late on your CRA deliverables, they can hit you with penalties and interest, which are usually just never a good sign. We've actually helped some of our clients get on payment plans that are very favorable to them. So CRA is usually actually able to you can negotiate with CRA, but they want to help you get on track, but they're usually not very that forgiving it if you're just being completely negligent. The next thing that can be impacted is the reputation of your NPO or your company. So if you're not readily being transparent, donors can lose confidence, and obviously your board will have some kind of concerns. Lastly is from an operational standpoint. So if you're not doing these things, if you're not fulfilling them, it's really hard to predict cash flow, and that's usually going to lead to reactive decision making, which is never really a position that you want to be in, and ultimately is putting your mission at risk. So if your goal is really to make an impact on a specific area, either group of people or group of companies, at the end of the day, it's just going to be very hard to stay true to your mission if you're not able to fulfill these things. And so I'll dive deeply into a little bit more about what the risk for grant funding and program risk is. But really, if your company is lacking the accurate documentation, it's going to be hard for the government of Canada or CRA to actually approve funding to your company. And so you really need to make sure that you're tracking each grant individually, you're providing receipts, and that your reporting is audit proof. That's really what the main goal is. And if you're not able to do this, then it's going to be really hard to defend the reporting that you're submitting to the government departments. So that's what is common for NPOs to struggle with. But what does a good monthly financial management system look like? So first and foremost is monthly reconciliations completed. So you want to make sure that all your bank accounts, Visa cards, loan accounts, they're all being reconciled to an official statement monthly. That doesn't mean you need to wait until the month end. You can proactively do this weekly or daily even. You also want to make sure that your accounts receivables and accounts payables are up to date as well. You don't want to leave those, again, like I said, to the 12-month mark where you miss something. By then it's too late. You really need to keep up to date with this kind of information. Budget versus actual by program. This is actually a really exciting topic for me because I am someone that likes to look forward. And so creating a budget, creating a plan is great, but you need to make sure that you're setting a cadence and that you're sticking true to what you've actually planned for. And so once you've reconciled all of the transactions, you're actually able to compare what actually happened to the budget and then make decisions. So like I said, you're not just kind of being reactive, you're actually looking forward. Proactive CRA compliance tracking. So this relates to the 3 buckets that I've talked about. Making sure that you are remitting what you should be for payroll taxes, and then also planning for what you might owe for sales taxes for your HST, GST. So what most companies do is if, let's say, 2 months into their fiscal year, they owe a certain amount of money for HST, they'll actually take those funds and put it into a savings account or invest it, so that they're actually using that money to their advantage rather than just spend it on something that they don't actually need, because at year end they're going to need to pay CRA that. Consistent financial statements, so really your profit and loss, balance sheet, cash flow statement, and budget reporting, these should be looked at every month once all these reports are done, so that you can actually see the health of the company and make educated decisions. Cash flow visibility, this is obviously just showing what funds are available to you and at your disposal. Board ready reporting. Not every board member will be trained to understand financial statements, and not everybody has an accounting or finance background. So it's really important that the financial summaries are easily understandable by everybody. If a group of people are making decisions, they need to understand what they're actually reading. So an official financial executive summary, it's not necessary each month or each quarter, but you at least need to have some kind of synopsis or some kind of understanding amongst the group of people that are making decisions. This can be separated by program level, so you can actually see what areas of the business are succeeding, which ones need more attention. This is really just laying the groundwork for funding visibility. Do we need to actively pursue more grant funding? Do we need to search for new revenue streams? Do we need to lower costs? Those are all decisions that can be answered in this kind of reporting. And then obviously just early risk detection. You don't want to wait till it's too late. Now, obviously, I'm a bit biased. I work for an outsourced bookkeeping company, but I've seen our system work really, really well, especially with NPOs and registered charities. So all of this information seems like a lot to manage, but it's all achievable, and you actually don't necessarily need a full-time staff to do this. You can actually rely on an outsourced bookkeeping company like Peace of Mind. And this is all achievable at a fraction of the cost of what it would cost you if you were to hire a full-time staff member. The reason for this is because once you have the systems in place, it doesn't take 160 hours a month to maintain. Obviously, there is an investment to make sure that these things are built correctly and can withstand whatever financial problems or hurdles that your company might need to overcome. But these are all things that an outsourced bookkeeping team can take care of you and really just allow you to run the business and not have to worry about compliance or bookkeeping or CRA management. So yeah, we've had a lot of success with several NPOs. And then lastly, just to kind of conclude, financial clarity protects your mission, which is really at the end of the day, what an NPO should be focused on is how they can have an impact on whatever their mission statement is. So compliance is really not optional. CRA is requiring every single business to fulfill these things. And you need to make sure that you have a team of people that can make sure that you follow through with that. Visibility and internal controls prevents funding risks. So like I kind of said before, making sure that you have the correct internal controls is really a way to protect you and your company. SOPs is going to build the structure of your daily operation. And so if you have that kind of cadence, the frequency that you're looking for to make sure that things run smoothly, you need to set those earlier than later is definitely best. And then obviously I always recommend a monthly structure because if you're waiting, like I said, till year end, it's usually too late at that point. So thank you for listening to my presentation. If there is something that's kind of caught your attention or something that you would like to discuss a little bit further, I'm more than happy to jump into it.
Okay, this is not the presentation I expected.
Okay.
I thought it was help with the actual tax return. I'm a registered charity, and it is a
Okay.
very small registered charity with very, um, but there is grant funding and so
Hmm.
on and so forth. And I have paid GST, so I was wondering what the registered charity. Well, obviously, from my questions at the very beginning about I hadn't refreshed my mind on the input tax credit, but thank you for that because it makes a lot of sense. I thank you for refreshing my memory. Um,
Hmm.
and um, I just started as the treasurer, so I had to dig into what was already there. And unfortunately, the past treasurer has not remitted any of the receipts, anything financial
Hmm.
from the past 5 years. So I'm kind of in a pickle. I can't go back and
Yeah.
find these things, and I don't know how to get them from her apart from asking.
Yeah. My recommendation, doing a 5-year cleanup is a very time consuming and can be uh, very painful. It is something that we actually specialize in as well, is multiple years of catch up that have been neglected, especially if there is ITC credits that have not been claimed. You could be paying a lot more than you actually should be or have to. Um,
I
the starting point really is the bank statements, collecting all the bank statements for the last 5 years and going through each transaction. Are you currently using a accounting software like QuickBooks Online or Sage or anything?
I was hoping to set it up in Quicken because I personally have used Quicken for quite some time. I know the
Hmm.
QuickBooks, again, very small registered charity, input
Hmm.
tax credit. I'm not too concerned about getting the GST back that I've paid to a consultant.
Hmm.
The question about the consult and yeah, maybe multiple consultants. What I have observed is that the past treasurer did not understand accrual accounting, and
Hmm.
without receipts, I can't fix that. Um,
Yeah.
and I can't be 100% sure, but from the financial statements that I've looked at, I have concern. Um,
Hmm.
again, small registered charity. So I'm not too concerned about the GST. Membership is not high enough. I don't think it qualifies for GST.
Hmm.
Um,
Do you know, has HST or GST accounts been opened
No,
for
they
your
have
company?
not, nor has
Okay.
the payroll account, but I do believe that it should be opened, and I'm
Okay.
willing to fix in the future. I just have to have CRA approve me as the new treasurer, which I was
Right.
hoping to just file the tax return and get
Yeah.
this other person's name off the file because I
Yeah.
tried just writing a letter and that didn't work.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah, the good news is if you haven't opened an HST or GST account yet, or a payroll account, then CRA isn't going to be applying penalties or
no,
interest because you don't have an account open. Um, if they deem that you should have had an account open, then that's a conversation
that's
that you would have
that's
with CRA
different.
at that point in time.
Yeah, that's
My
different.
yeah, my recommendation for one, you should certainly have like be getting access to the CRA business account.
Okay.
Usually just calling them and explaining the situation that, the previous treasurer hasn't actually passed on access to me. I'm looking to get access. They might require you to give them some kind of documentation, like either the letters of incorporation or the registration as a charity.
Yeah, I've
Those
been
are
there, done
likely
that. Been
yeah.
there, done
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Yeah.
and I'm not I haven't insisted, but
Hmm.
yes, this person is working against me. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, their name was on the CRA file. I worked for CRA for a long time, so I know what the
Okay.
folks on the phones can and cannot
Yeah.
do. So I didn't insist yet, but I will. Um,
Yeah.
so my main questions, hold on the return, if you can help me.
Hmm.
Uh, a compensation. Okay. Did the charity compensate any of its directors, trustees, or like officials or persons not at arm's length from the charity for services provided during the fiscal period? It's other than reimbursements. So I guess they'd be called consultant fees overall. We do pay honorariums, and
Hmm.
some of these individuals are on the board, and conflict of interests statements have been provided and approved. Does that qualify as a compensation? I guess it does.
Yeah, and I think I'm not sure if it
The question is just yes or no. I just,
yeah, okay, then it's yes.
yeah.
There
Okay.
might be follow-up questions regarding payroll, but since you don't have a payroll account open, that wouldn't apply to you. But yeah, the answer would be yes if you paid some
And they're nominal amounts, so I'm not too concerned.
mhm,
Revenue. Did the charity issue tax receipts for gifts? Does that include, yeah, gifts or donations? Okay.
mhm,
That's what I thought. Total gifts. Okay. Total gifts received for which attack. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. For expenditures. So that's what you were talking about, knowing what to put in an expense, what to expense, what not to expense, what categories to put them in, and so on and so
mhm,
forth. So I know I've had consulting fees through a grant that was obtained.
mhm.
What was my question? I just have to enter that information and it has to be on qualifying disbursements. What are qualifying disbursements?
Those would be so if it's related to a grant, there's likely going to be some kind of contract with that department in the government where you have a set budget for specific expense categories. So if consulting was one of them, there would be a certain amount that you would be entitled for reimbursement for. And so you just need to show in your reporting that we received X amount of dollars from this grant and we spent the same amount on that budgeted, agreed upon expenditure, which is consulting in this case.
Got it. And that I do have, that I was able to get, that I was able to get. And the financial statements are all good. Okay. That was my tax return. Um,
Awesome.
those were my questions. I didn't realize it was going to be on one-on-one, and I thought it was a CRA representative, but
No, no worries.
I still got a lot of good information. We're obviously little, so getting a consulting company to do payroll
Hmm.
and the financials is not. When I took this on,
Yep.
I went, "Oh, this will take me like half an hour a month." But it turned out, well, when you don't have how it was set up for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
It's very hard. So I'm recreating a lot of
Yep.
stuff. And I
That makes
wanted to
sense.
make sure that what I submitted to CRA was correct instead of following another person's,
Yeah.
what I believe are errors. But
Yeah.
in so somebody comes to you and
Hmm.
you notice errors. They are minor to CRA. Would you correct them?
It depends on the agreed upon scope of the work. And so if a company is coming to us and they're asking us to redo or adjust returns, then we will do that. If CRA has accepted it and the client does not want us to touch previous years, then we obviously won't do that.
Okay. Okay, so it becomes a board decision. I get it.
Yeah,
If I
exactly. It becomes a
can,
board decision, and or if CRA has indicated that something needs to be adjusted or redone,
oh yeah, yeah,
uh,
that's
that
different.
that
That's
that
different.
direction can come from CRA as well.
Yeah, that's totally different.
Hmm.
Totally different. Uh, yeah. So I think I'm just going to move forward, and you have answered
Yeah,
all my questions concerning
absolutely. Yeah.
CRA and uh,
And feel free, like, I mean, we can definitely pass along my contact information. If you do have more questions or follow up, more than happy to just, get on a call or answer an email.
yeah.
Definitely happy to provide that support.
Um, so your first slide that you presented, which yeah, can you go back to because well, I took some notes.
This one?
No, I think CRA expectations, CRA filings, payroll. The breakdowns I wrote down, cost of financial weakness, grant funding and risk, monthly financial. No, I think I'm good.
Okay. I can also send you the PowerPoint as well if that's helpful.
We can do that. Yeah, we can send you the
Okay.
presentation if you need that.
I just wanted to make sure that I had a grasp of all those concepts that you presented, and if I
Hmm.
still had follow-up questions from
Yeah,
notes
definitely.
that I took, but I did get some information that I'm going to research further.
Yeah. Yeah, I really wanted to share just kind of my full arc, how I approach servicing NPOs and the things that I've kind of seen as struggles and where I've seen companies really thrive as well. So,
Yeah, and
yeah,
breakdown. Um,
awesome.
yeah, I think I'm good.
Awesome.
Okay,
I'm
thank
good.
you so much.
Thank you for the presentation. Thank you,
Of
Volunteer
course.
Ottawa,
Of course.
for providing these.
Of course. Thank you so much for coming and thank you, Justin, for your presentation. We
Okay.
will send you the presentation once we get it from Justin and then we'll forward that to you. But thank you, everyone, and have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys. Okay, take care.